following is an orientation to the Canyons Teacher Effectiveness Support System, or CTESS, for teacher librarians. CTESS has been approved and authorized by the Utah State Board of Education as a valid and reliable tool for evaluating teachers in Canyon School District. CTESS is founded upon the Utah Effective Teaching Standards, the CSD-MTSS framework, and the Library Media Standards. The law requires that all provisional, probationary, and career educators be evaluated yearly. Educators must be evaluated with a reliable and valid evaluation instrument consistent with the Utah Effective Teaching Standards. Administrators must address the needs of educators whose performance is not effective or minimally effective. Newly hired licensed employees are provisional with the district for 3 years. A district employee who accepts another position that is substantially different from a position in which career status was achieved, for example, a teacher who accepts the position as a teacher specialist, is returned to provisional status in the new position for 3 years. A mentor will be assigned to all provisional educators. Provisional and probationary educators will be evaluated yearly. A performance quality rating, or PQR, will be assigned at the mid-year conference, with a summative overall rating, or SOR, being assigned in the spring. Career educators will be evaluated using one of 3 phases. Phases 1 and 2 are growth years, and phase 3 is a summative year. CTESS is a comprehensive process designed to support professional growth and excellence of educators. CTESS strives to improve student outcomes by helping educators identify areas of strength and growth in the context of research-validated practices through meaningful feedback, team collaboration, professional learning, and ongoing coaching. The many purposes of CTESS include ensuring that every student receives high-quality instruction every day, developing and supporting effective and highly effective educators, developing a collaborative professional culture to facilitate student learning, recognizing and promoting the use of evidence-based instructional priorities, standards-based teaching and reporting, and professional behaviors, appraising educators according to their effectiveness, and providing a basis for decisions affecting employment. For teacher librarians, there are 8 teacher standards and 8 library standards. All standards are aligned with Canyon's MTSS framework. CTESS has 3 components based on state law. The instructional quality rating, making up 70% of the final rating, that includes self-assessment and goal setting, checklists, educator portfolio, library standards documentation, and administrator knowledge. A student growth reflection making up 20%, and the stakeholder input reflection making up 10%. These 3 components combine into a summative overall rating. CTESS ratings are highly effective, indicating an educator who has excelled. Effective, indicating an educator whose performance has met the standard. Emerging effective, indicating a provisional educator whose performance is minimally effective. Minimally effective, indicating a career educator whose performance has not met the standard for successful teaching. And not effective, indicating an educator whose performance has not met the standard for successful teaching. If a provisional educator's instructional quality rating, or IQR, or summative overall rating, SOR, is not effective, the educator will receive supports, a memo of concern with identified assistance, and will be notified that employment with the district is in question. If the provisional educator's subsequent IQR or SOR is emerging effective, effective, or highly effective, the provisional educator advances to the next CTESS cycle. Once a provisional educator has successfully completed Year 3 requirements, the educator attains career status and advances to Phase 1 of the Career Educator Growth Cycle. Please note, for career educators, the summative overall rating received during Phase 3 of the growth cycle will be retained during Phases 1 and 2. Phases 1 and 2 are growth years, which require self-assessment and goal setting and a response to student growth. If a career educator's instructional quality rating or summative overall rating is minimally effective or not effective, the educator will receive supports, a plan of assistance, which may not exceed 120 school days, and notification that employment with the district is in question. It is the educator's responsibility to improve their performance to satisfactory levels. Cycle 1 is then repeated. If the career educator's second IQR is effective or highly effective, the educator is then advanced to Phase 1, removed from probation, and career status is reinstated. Please note, career educators who have been placed on probation for unsatisfactory performance and are again unsatisfactory within a 3-year period are subject to non-renewal or employment termination pursuant to state law and district policy. If after the second cycle, the educator's rating is still minimally effective or not effective, the educator then continues the plan of assistance and is placed on probation. If the educator's rating after the third round is still minimally effective or not effective, the educator's employment with the district is terminated. For your information, pursuant to Utah state law, career educators whose plan of assistance spans 2 contract years may not advance on an adopted salary schedule. Here is a review of the processes for CTESS and what is required for each component. The instructional quality component of CTESS consists of several requirements. First is self-assessment and goal setting, also known as the professional growth plan. Each educator must complete a self-assessment and professional growth plan and set goals. The supervisor reviews the self-assessment and professional growth plan and may communicate with each educator about the growth plan in a conference or email. The remaining requirements for instructional quality include a classroom observation, the educator portfolio, and library standards documentation, along with the ethical conduct checklist and administrator knowledge. One observation on provisional year 1 educators is due November 30th. The instructional quality rating, or IQR, for years 2 and 3 provisional educators is due January 30th. The IQR for year 1 provisional educators is due March 30th, and the IQR for Phase 3 career educators is also due March 30th. The instructional quality rating is then calculated based upon the effectiveness rating for each standard using the rating decision rubric. The student growth component of CTESS consists of a reflection on student growth. Educators will reflect on student growth. This reflection may become part of the self-assessment and goal setting for the next year. The stakeholder input component of CTESS consists of a reflection based on stakeholder feedback. Stakeholders will be surveyed. Educators will reflect on and respond to the stakeholder feedback. Responses will receive an effectiveness rating. The information from the instructional quality rating, stakeholder input, and student growth are then used to determine a summative overall rating. At the end of your conference for the summative overall rating, or SOR, you will review your professional growth plan to determine if your goals were met, and then determine your summative overall rating. Your supervisor will then submit your signed SOR to Human Resources by May 30th. Following the end of your conference, a copy of the SOR will be placed in your personnel file. If desired, you may submit a written response to all or any part of the evaluation and have that response attached to your evaluation. You have 15 days after receiving the evaluation results to request a review of the evaluation process. The complete CTESS manual for teacher librarians, which contains all benchmark criteria, can be found on CTESS dashboard or by contacting your supervisor. If you have any questions regarding this presentation, please feel free to contact your supervisor or Sandra Dahl-Houlihan in Human Resources. Thank you.